Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, I was not able to come to the conference today, but my voice overcame all the obstacles, and I'm here with you now. My name is Anna Pavlova. I'm 31. I'm a teacher, a psychologist, and educator. Maybe you've heard that during 9 years I was engaged in the development of the conception of School of the Future within the program Men of the Third Millennium. It was in the Federal State Budgetary Educational Institution, Lyceum and Boarding School of the Children and Teenagers Person Complex Formation. It is in Russia, and it is the experimental ground of the Russian Academy of Education. I participated in experimental search of the basis of development of professional qualities and creative abilities of children through a holistic broad education. I was a teacher, an educator, a psychologist, the developer of the systems of different subjects, new methods and approaches to educational process. I was a cook, an administrator, the head of the international department, the translator, the director of different groups of children, a member of the song and dance ensemble Bells of Russia. I executed various domestic and economic tasks and construction works. So during 9 years I created the school with my mind, soul, heart and hands. And now I'm busy with individual psychological and pedagogical practice, creation of system courses of the secondary school subjects, conducting seminars on development of the conception of schools of the new generation, natural education, new types of relations. And also, the main project is the development of the homeschooling on principle of educating in nobiliary families of pre-revolution Russia, where the level of education was very high. And it is the realization of the project on creation a special space in the Caucasian Mountains for a residence and extraordinary educating of children and adults, where natural environment will be created for educating people with the school subjects, necessary practical abilities and skills, art, handicraft, agricultural activity, to have an ability to produce the real product, manage the production process, and sell the created commodity. Scientifically, pedagogical and productive associations will be put into practice in this space, giving an opportunity to the child to be plunged in society naturally in the process of life. I created specially for my recording 3 mind maps, and they will help you to follow my speech. My first mind map is on motivation. It is the urgent question when a lot of people asked me, why is it important to make clear motivation to learn? So let's think together. Motivation, what is that? It is why, what, for do I need to do something? Everything that we do for some purpose. Just look in our everyday life. We eat, drink, meet friends, work. Our mind is constructed in such a way that it works only when it understands the reason. And it fails to do something when it doesn't understand the reason. And it can look like, I don't want to do this. Some reasons are obvious, and some reasons we need to explain. And when you just don't want to do something, it is a deep mental and psychological process which connected with our birth, childhood, surrounding people, so it's our family and friends. If I understand what for, everything is done easily, with pleasure, so it has positive effect and results, which is extremely important. If for several years children don't understand why do they need to go to school, and I've met such children in my practice, they become really angry. They are angry on everybody. This anger is uncontrolled. They become cruel, nervous, suddenly depressed, and year by year they lose sense of life, as they keep doing meaningless things, just because somebody said that they need to do it. Being in such a rigid structure, in such serious necessity to do something that you don't understand for a long time, finally a person starts rebelling against such suppression. And in this way, people start doing unexpected things. And as usual, psychologists start treating consequences, but nobody goes deep into the reason, which is far, far away from now. And it was just the absence of motivation, which is equal to clear understanding what for. And every child needs this clarity, as we need clarity in our life and in our relations. But the motivation is not just the words and explanations. It is the vision of the future and possibilities of the future. The second mind map is devoted to the question of immersion, as many people asked me, why do I use this method of immersion? So I think you know that immersion implies a concentrated dominant appeal to the information flow of one specific subject in the curriculum, alternate with productive work, art classes, and exercise. In the process of immersion, a child is able to overcome the fragmentation of learning in the traditional multi-subject school day. So immersion allows a person to go deep into the subject, to look on a subject as a whole thing, holistically, integrally, in its interconnection with other subjects and life, and go far away from spoon-feeding of information. As our mindset is holistic, and it rejects pieces of anything, it requires conformity, adequacy to itself. You can ask me, how does immersion function? How do I choose the material? And you will ask to give you a short practical example. So I can tell you that, for example, for 3 or 6 days, we choose particular material, particular topics, and together with my pupils we dive into one subject, in its sense, structure, interrelation of its elements. We think why do this subject is really needed, how it is used and reflected in our life, how it can help in future. We discuss it, and it really motivates. Then for this particular immersion we choose topics which are the most actual, the most urgent for that time, keeping in our minds the whole structure of the subject. We should keep this holistic structure all the time. It's extremely important. We can look at this using mathematics. You'll see the third mind map. It is for the immersion of mathematics. So as you know, mathematics is a queen of all subjects, as Gauss said. It helps all the subjects like an instrument. So, for example, the next subject after mathematics will be chemistry, and everybody knows about that. So there you'll need for sure knowledge and skills how to count positive and negative numbers, logarithms, solving equations. So in creating the concept of immersion of mathematics, I'll consider it and place special emphasis on these topics, in their interconnection with others, of course. In this way, the knowledge will be relevant for children and practically significant, so the effect will be obvious. And these topics must be connected into one concept, one system. Always remember it. If you look at my mathematics mind map, I think you'll understand for sure how I structurize the immersion. It is only one example. And what emphasis do I put? What extremely important moments do I choose and use? For example, it is time tips. Time tips are very important when you need to organize the process. So just read all this mind map. I think you will understand everything. And I will just say some words about technology. So there are several systematic topics mentioned here. Reading them, you will understand that here we took the topics from the 5th till 11th form and we integrated it, systematized the information, and now it is obvious and understandable for all people and all children with or without some basis in mathematics. For example, it is functions, equations, and inequalities, all types of them. So at once we need to think of all these three topics. They are in the secondary school. There are big topics and a lot of time devoted to functions, to all the types of functions, then to equations. And they are separated in children's heads, and it's really difficult to connect one function, one type of function to another type of function. And equations, they seem to be so difficult, so strange, but they are all together: functions, equations, and inequalities. And if we understand this, they turns out to be so easy and so understandable. And then we can get basic skills how to solve all this. Or for example, you see here all the geometry at once. So 1, 2, and 3 dimensions. Altogether they are really measurable. And we can look at it holistically using our imagination and all the things we have around us, because we live in the world of shapes. Another technique or technology I called matryoshka. It's a traditional Russian souvenir, and it is one doll which is inside another doll. So as subsequent topic contains previous one. So we get the connection between the topics, and it's easier to understand them and to follow the sense. Then another technology is searching activity. I think you know what is that. So the main goal of education is to teach people how to study. So searching activity is the main thing which helps you to get the necessary information. Not surplus, but the necessary, which you need now and which you can apply and digest. So any student needs not only to listen and to eat the information, but he needs to find the necessary information and to enrich himself and others. So on my seminars we are going to study all these technologies, to understand time tips and principles, to discuss what, for, and why, and to understand how to achieve the result and why is it so important. We'll try, discuss, think together and cooperate. So we will be the creators, the co-creators of our course. And it's very important. We need to understand that every course and every immersion and every seminar, it is created in the process. So we need to understand what we should get at the end. But as usual, a lot is changing in the process, because people develop in the process. New ideas come to their mind. And if you're really involved and you're really in the process, you will see and feel the result. And I want to stop here now, because we are talking a lot about methods, new ways and technologies, but very often we forget about a person, about a man. In Russia we call it, in Russian language, человек. So человек has its ancient traditional name, Целовецы. So it is from the word whole, the single one. So it's very important that a person, a man from the capital M, must be holistic in its mind. So we really need to understand who are these people who we want to educate. And where do we go? We need to understand what will be as a result at the end of our way. And of course, it's not the person knowing a lot of theoretical things, but it must be a person with a lot of skills, who can create a real product, who can do real things. Do you know this short saying? So a lot of people are gathered together and they were discussing what they will do together. So one person says, "Oh, I am a very good cook. I'm going to tell you how to cook very tasty food." Another person said, "Oh, I am a very good builder. I'm going to tell you how to build beautiful houses." The third one said, "And I'm a gardener. I know how to grow beautiful trees and flowers." And one person said, "Oh, and I'm a teacher." Oh my God! What shall I teach you? What can I teach you to make or to do? So there is the urgent question of the necessity to master particular skills for a person, which he can implement later and will be in demand in society. So, as I told you, the education is the call of the ideal or of the image, or that is creating of images, if we look deep into this word using the Russian language. So in Russian it is образование, so the call of the ideal. But do you think that the ideal or the image can be created only using methods and techniques? And what about the atmosphere? Colors, smells, appearance of all the participants of the process, energy and information purity? These are the first things that influence the perception. When you come to some place, there can be great distortions in time and energy. These act as holes or funnels which absorb all that will be created in this place. So before start of any process, we need to clean the space. And I work using the old ways with propolis and wax. As you know, they are the products of bees. And bees are special creations on our beautiful planet. As you remember, Antoinette de Saint-Exupéry said, "When the last bee leaves the earth, the humanity will stop existing." So I clear all the space and time distortions with wax and propolis. Propolis is the only unique natural substance which removes the time distortion. So I think every person would better master these techniques. It is practical knowledge which you can use effectively in education, in your personal life, and I have a special seminar on that. And going back to the creation of the atmosphere, I should remind you the quote that the beauty will save the world. So everything in your class and in the place where you are should be beautiful. You should create this beauty by your hands and by your heart. Only in this way the ideal can be born. And I'm also going to talk on my seminars about these smells, colors, the atmosphere, which greatly influence the whole process of education, so of creating images. And also I think we need to talk about the most urgent question of differentiation. We need to understand now in new time that not all people are equal. So the same methods and techniques can't be useful for all the children and for all the people. And it's natural. So we need to know how to understand who is this person and in what way is better to educate him. And we are going to talk about it on my introduction workshop. And the question of differentiation leads to the question of the future. So we need to think how will people live, and these particular children live in 10, 20, 30 years. What will they do? How they will earn money for their needs? How they can be necessary for the society? And what is the society where they will live? Do they really need to live in the society that they live now? Or maybe a new type of society must be created. But of course it is a small group of people, and these people must be in compliance, in accordance. They should understand the natural laws and be of the same worldview. It's really important. So in this case, we'll understand that we don't need to change some system or to destroy and build completely new. Everything is existing already, and all the types of systems and structures are needed to some kind of people. So this education and these secondary schools which we have now, they are also needed to some people. And I'll show and explain this to you on practical examples. So I was really happy to talk to you and to have such opportunity. I wish you good luck and many pleasant moments on the conference. Thank you all for your attention. Goodbye to you and all the very, very best.